Welcome to a brand new explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating piece of source material. We're going to impartially unpack a text that completely blurs the lines between modern, everyday earthly geopolitics and massive, grand-scale cosmic spiritualism. It's a gripping narrative that basically takes the news headlines you see every single day and drops them right into the middle of an epic, universe-spanning struggle. Now, just to be crystal clear right up front, we aren't here to endorse or validate any of these viewpoints. Our goal is simply to break down this complex, highly unique text so you can understand the sprawling, mind-bending framework it actually presents. To help navigate this worldview, here is our agenda. 1. Dark universe and domination. 2. Strategy by vaccines and economy. 3. Warnings from ancient civilizations. 4. Middle East energy and isolation. And finally, 5. Cosmic defense through light.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Dark Universe and Domination.
Our journey starts in Chapter 1 with a spiritual message that was allegedly delivered on July 19, 2021. According to this text, Earth isn't just facing your standard political friction. It claims we are in the middle of an unprecedented geopolitical and cosmic crisis, observed from a vantage point far, far beyond our own atmosphere. So, who is analyzing this crisis? The text attributes this message to an entity named R.A. Goal. He is described as a cosmic defense commander from the Andalusia Beta Star in the Ursa Minor constellation, and get this, a part of the cosmic soul of Buddha. Within this framework, R.A. Goal asserts that a dark universe filled with malicious, Ahriman-type extraterrestrials is actively intervening in human affairs right now. What makes this narrative so intriguing is how it ties those wild cosmic concepts directly to earthly nations. The text actually claims that the dark universe heavily influences current Chinese leadership, and their alleged ultimate aim? To completely collapse Western democracies and entirely absorb Japan, reducing it to just another province on their path to total global dominance. Moving on to Section 2, Strategy via Vaccines and Economy. The book asserts that the outward benevolence we've seen in recent years, things like vaccine diplomacy and massive economic aid, is actually a carefully constructed mask. While it's publicly touted as global salvation, the text claims the true motive is systemic colonization. It goes so far as to assert this is a deliberate plot to subjugate and even eradicate other populations in order to force a return to Marxist origins and complete a worldwide communist revolution.
This strategy is described almost like a rapid contagion. The text specifically calls out how this vaccine and money diplomacy has targeted Southeast Asia, initiating a silent, creeping colonization without a single shot ever being fired. And all of this geopolitical maneuvering? Well, it's allegedly building toward a very specific impending deadline, the year 2050. That is the exact target year the book sets for this supposed global, unified takeover to be fully realized.
Which brings us to Section 3, Warnings from Ancient Civilizations.
To really underscore the severity of that 2050 deadline, the source material turns to the deep past. It draws this fascinating chronological line, linking the extinction of the Neanderthals 40,000 years ago to the mythical sinking of Mu and Atlantis. It uses these events as a direct parallel to the crisis it claims will peak in 2050. The implication here is pretty chilling. Advanced civilizations have been totally wiped out before.
But here is the kicker. The narrative argues that Mu and Atlantis were not wiped out by random, unavoidable natural disasters. Instead, they were destroyed from the inside out by a fatal flaw in their own societies. According to the book, these grand empires fell because they replaced spiritual faith with a blind, arrogant over-reliance on advanced scientific technology. They essentially fell into machine worship and reason worship, which severed their connection to the divine. And the warning for us? The text insists that modern Earth is currently repeating those exact same mistakes, putting us right back on that exact same path to ruin. Let's dive into Section 4, Middle East Energy and Isolation. So, you know how carbon neutrality is generally universally seen as a vital way to protect the environment? Well, the book takes a completely unconventional U-turn here. It argues that the zero-emissions ideology is actually an orchestrated plot. The text claims adversarial forces are pushing this on to developed nations to force them off fossil fuels, intentionally sapping Western military and combat strength. It describes a massive, multi-pronged strategy. While Western nations are allegedly being tricked into abandoning fossil fuels,
forces aligned with the dark universe plan to swoop in and seize Middle Eastern oil fields. At the same time, they're building alliances with Iran and Russia to form a powerful anti-Western bloc, specifically using Israel as bait to drive a wedge that isolates the United States.
By fostering these specific alliances and framing America as the ultimate enemy of the Islamic world, the text claims a highly calculated geopolitical isolation is being engineered right under our noses. It's all about systematically stripping away American influence and its protective power globally.
Furthermore, the text points to physical, real-world expansions to back up this grand strategy. It references aggressive military base construction in the South China Sea, viewing these moves as the beginning phases of a much broader campaign toward total military encirclement and resource capture.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Cosmic Defense Through Light.
Having laid out this massive, sprawling narrative of global takeover and cosmic interference, you might be wondering, how on earth do you fight a war that is simultaneously geopolitical and spiritual? Well, to combat the dark universe, the text shifts entirely away from physical military strategy to a core metaphysical principle. It states, the essence of the universe is in God's thought.
The book argues that these dark forces are pouring in from cosmic black holes, literally drawn to the negative energies of fear and materialism here on Earth. Because of this, traditional warfare simply isn't going to cut it. Resisting this darkness requires establishing a unified, higher spiritual frequency.
In practice, the text explains that humanity has to maintain its collective thought as light, literally rejecting all fear-based frequencies. By building nations that actually align with divine laws, specifically what it calls the law of Cantare, humanity can create a wavelength mismatch. The idea is if our frequency is pure light, the dark forces simply cannot tune in, effectively sealing them away for good.
Whether you view this text as a literal cosmic warning or just a really fascinating geopolitical metaphor, this framework definitely leaves us pondering the true power of our collective human consciousness. If our mindset really does shape our reality and our ultimate defense, what kind of wave is humanity broadcasting right now? Are we transmitting fear, or are we broadcasting light? It's a lot to think about. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next explainer.